Hello everyone, how are you today? In next 1 hour, I'm going to do a presentation of how does a gate valve work. Okay, a gate valve is quite interesting because it's one of the most common used valve and it's the simplest. Okay, here is a gate valve here. And also we can have a look here. This is a gate valve. And now it's in the closed position. And when we move up, it is an open position. We can see here, when the valve is fully opened, there are little resistance here to flow passing through the valve. Now it's very good because this means we are gonna have a very low pressure drop. So as a fluid or the gas is flowing through the valve, it's going to encounter very little resistance and will have a correspondingly low pressure drop. Now gate valves are normally used in line. That means they are used just to passing flow through, but occasionally you might need to close the valve and isolate the system, and that is what a gate valve is for. So gate valve is only used for open and close. Open and close. This is the just one function for the gate valve. And it is not used for throttling or regulating the flow, and I will show you why. Have a look here. You can see here, its disc is pressed against the switch. Now it is only half open. So it's in the throttled position. The problem with this is that firstly, the amount of the flow through the valve is not proportional to the amount that the gate valve has traveled. So the disc, this section here, the disc here, had traveled up and it looked like approximately halfway. But the flow through the valve is not gonna be half of the max flow capacity. The flow through the valve is linear. It's not linear or proportional to the amount the valve is open. This means that when you actually open the valve halfway, you are gonna get a lot of flow between the disc and the body here. And this is gonna be proportionally quite a large amount of flow with a high velocity. This high velocity often leads to seat and disc wear. The other problem from the high velocity is the turbulence. As the flow passing through this small gap between disc and body, there is a lot of turbulence. And this is also creates a large pressure drop, which again is what you don't want. This is resistance to flow. So gate valve is not very well suited to throttling. In fact, they should either be only fully opened or fully closed. Well, we are down here. We can have a quick look at the seat. Quick look at the seat. The seat, this area is around here. It's normally either part of the body, such as a flat machined surface, or well used seat ring, and seat ring are usually metal rings. The advantage with this seat ring is that if a seat becomes worn, you can just change the seat ring. So seat rings make it easier to repair a valve, such as by repairing the seat if it's leaking by simply swapping the ring out. In order for the valve to sit correctly, we need to both the disc and seat to be machined flat so that they can press against each other and form a seal. So we already know that we can percently use seat ring and we can replace the seat rings if the seat surface becomes damaged, but that still leaves a disc. If we move up, we can actually see the stem. We can see the stem passing all the way through the valve and it and through the seating arrangement, and up through the handle wheel. This is interesting because if we watch, we can actually see the stem. We can actually see the stem rising out of the top of the hand wheel and dropping back down again. Dropping back down again. So it's gonna keep rising up and dropping back down. This type of design is what we prefer. Is what we refer to as a rising stem gate valve. It makes it really easy to see the position that a valve is. Because a stem is just gonna pop out of the top. In order to achieve this, what we've actually done is fix the stem. Have a seat here. Fix the stem. Fix the stem to the disc so the stem is connected to the disc. It's not gonna move inside the disc or anything like that. It's totally fixed, and that means That means that as we rotate the handle wheel, the stem is gonna be pulled upward and it's gonna pull the disc up. This is slightly different design to what we call a non-rising stem gate valve. There are two main designs, rising stem, non-rising stem. As I said earlier, it's easy to see if the valve is open or closed. The downside is that sometimes you will carry a bit of dirty on the stem. Carry out the dirty stem, and when you close the valve, the dirty will pass through the packing or potentially damage the packing, which will damage the seal, and maybe then you will get a leak. So contamination is potential problems with rising stem gate valve. But the big benefit is that we can actually see visually if the valve is fully opened or fully closed. If we just take a look now at a non-rising type of gate valve, you can see this is a non-rising type gate valve. I'll show you the parts. See, we've got the handle wheel in the wheel, the bonnet, the small gaskets for sealing, the stem, and we can see the stem in comparison to the other design we look at has a thread going through the way down. Have a thread going through the way down. The reason that we have this thread going all the way down is because as we open the valve, the thread is going through into the disc, into the section here. It's going to go all the way through the disc. As it screws into the disc is gonna be pulled up the stem. As it pulled up the stem, we are gonna open the valve. So rather than having a rising stem, we're gonna have a non-rising stem because this is just going to turn, and it turns a disc will move from here, the bottom part of the stem, and it's going to be dragged up, down, upward, upwardsly until it reaches the bottom of the disc. And the typical service temperature are gonna be between about -20 to 60 degrees Celsius. Pressure up to maximally 16 bar. These valves are not suitable for very high pressure because you are actually going to be below the packing out or cause the packing to leak. So 16 bar would be the max service pressure, and for flow rates, you are looking at anything between 5 to 20 meters per second, depending upon if the flow medium is liquid or gas. For liquid, the flow rate is actually gonna be less, so you are looking in the 5 meters max per second range, and for gas, you are looking up to maybe 20 meters per second. Okay, this is today's my episode about how a gate valve works, and we still have 20 minutes, so let's have a look at our catalog of our valves. And so let's have a look of our valves. ISYI are supplying gate valves, check valves, butterfly valves, Y strainers, fire hydrant, and full range of pipeline products and accessories. We also can produce different standards like DIN, BS, EN, API, ANSI, AWWA. These standards are available with different material and specifications, including ductile iron, carbon steel, stainless steel, and our price is competitive. Of course, because we have a 13 years history, so before our price is very high, and in order to meet the high growing market, and recently we are going to do some design for the lower price market. So currently our product can cover different rate, different level, and different price of a market. Of course, quality is reliable. We are not supplying the bad quality products. It's cause big problems. And this is our SY group introduction. Not only valves, we also can supply manhole cover, guard gratings, surface boxes, tray gratings, bollards, garden benches, coast lab posts, bases, and all type of ISYI OEM municipal products and outdoor furnitures. Also, pipe fittings, valves, universal couplings, flange adapters, quick adapters, dismantling joint, clamps, fire hydrants, and so on. Also, we are able to supply the OEM products because we have the casting division, and we have a forging factory, and aluminum division. We have foundries and machine plants, and over 500,000 square meters of workshop, warehouse, and production facility. You can see here we have 4 automatic molding machines lines, CNC machine centers, professional laboratory, in-house pattern tool swap, and most importantly, a group of highly experienced and technically qualified staff. And these days, our colleague Mr. introduced our technicians. If you are interested in that episode, please go back to click our link about this episode. And regarding quality, and we have this certificates, ISO 9001, SGIS certificate, CAT mark, SBSI CAT mark, C and F, like that. So in ISYI, we can supply one-stop service to you. This is our certificate. You can see here, we can supply the size from 50 to 1400 millimeters, which can meet 4 requirements from our clients. Sorry. And this is our production facility. Because of the facility, we suppose our quantity can be sure. It's a chemical components analysis, tensile strength test. This is you can have a look here. This is finished goods service. It's smooth. The color is bright. This is our parking area in one of our shop. This is our workshop. This is one of our workshop. Of course, we can design any valves for our client because we have a group of highly experienced technical engineers. So we are able to use most of the worldwide engineering software to design the valve for you. So, firstly, we are talking about the gate valve. This is the non-rising stem resilient seated gate valve. It's the most common gate valve. Non-rising stem resilient seated gate valve. This is rising stem resilient seated gate valve. This is material is ductile iron GGG15. Disc is the same, bonnet the same. Also, we can supply the material of carbon steel, stainless steel. This is a rising stem metal seated gate valve. Here the seat, disc and the seat here are made of metal. On resilient seat gate valve, the disc and the body here, seat here are made of rubber. have a look at this sample. This is a resilient seated gate valve. Have a look here. The disc is outside is made of rubber. So this is resilient seated gate valve. And another type is a metal seated gate valve. This is a I5 non-rising resilient seated gate valve. So this sample is non-rising stem seated gate non-rising stem gate valve, because when we open and close the valve, we cannot see if the valve is opening or closing. But if it's a rising stem gate valve, you can actually visually see when the gate valve is open and when the gate valve is closed. So it's a different design. Let's go on. It's non-rising stem metal seated gate valve 5 F5. And the differences between I4 and I5 is this length. For F4, the length L is shorter than F5. This is the defense standard BS5163 non-rising stem resilient seated gate valve. This is the BS5163 rising stem resilient seated gate valve. And this is special because this resilient seated socket gate valve is connecting socket joint pipes. And for previous valves they are connecting the flange joint pipes. You can see here it's connecting flange, but for this gate valve it's connecting socket pipes, socket and speaker pipe. Let's go on. It's a butterfly valve. SYI also can supply butterfly valve. It is concentric flanged butterfly valve. I'm going to have a quick look at other valves because my colleague Miss Hall has introduced these valves in previous episode. So let's have a quick look. Concentric flanged butterfly valve and this revolver butterfly valve. It is gear-operated lock butterfly valve. It is swing check valve. This is a strainer, Y strainer, and can see we can supply different standard Y strainer, and this is a higher fire hydrant. This is underground fire hydrant. Cast steel valves. API 600 cast steel gate valve. Cast steel global valve. Cast steel swing check valve. This is Watson standard gate valve. So our gate valve, our valve catalog is covering different standard gate valve, butterfly valve, swing check valve, and white strainer fire hydrant. So if you are interested in our valves, please contact our sales representative. And this is our contact information. Also, our sales director, Miss Ma, is available to contact with you every day, every hour. And this is her telephone number. This is her email address, and this is her WeChat.